What exactly were you doing before you hooked up with the U2 voice?
Oh, well, my band and I, we travel all the time. We play many concerts, and we record. In fact, we are unique within ourselves.
Yeah, それはもうwe were informed that you perform like 275 dates a year.
I average about a bit over 300 concerts a year.
The second half of that question was, how do you hold up? It must be incredibly demanding.
I like to meet people like yourself.
You flatter us.
So there are basic reasons. One is, in order to keep a good band, you must work for them. I've got, I think, the best band for playing what I like. They have families too. So that's one reason to keep the band together, keep them working. Second, blues music hasn't been as popular as I would like it to be. Hadn't been played on the radio. Hadn't been in the front of the people as I would like it to be. That's the second reason. When I travel around, I find that people realize that. Am I saying too much for you? Okay.
No, I'll summarize it after you finish.
I find that when I travel around, not only in the United States, but from country to country, I find that people remember more about the blues. They realize blues is still alive and well. And they also realize that blues is a part of the rock and roll scene. It's the roots there. All of that's a part of it. Third and final, I have bills to pay.
基本的にknown as a master of the blues now. Does that have its limitations at all? Do people ever kind of feel a little bit too shy to get up on the same stage with you, or do you feel that at all?
No, I don't feel that. I imagine that some of the young musicians may look at me and kind of in awe of me being around so long, and I try my best to make them comfortable. I guess it's the same with all of us. All of us admire or idolize somebody, and therefore there are certain people that if I see, I'd be a little nervous too.
Who would that be?
There are many. There are many.
So I guess one thing that you represent to us is a musician who has broadened the base of the blues, brought it to a lot of people. How do you see yourself? What kind of an artist do you see yourself as? So that's what you represent to us. How do you look at yourself?
I don't want to sound egotistical. I think I'm a guy that know my job pretty good. I've been doing it long enough to be pretty professional with it. I take it very seriously. I take music seriously. In fact, I take life seriously. I think it would be fair for me to say that I think I'm pretty good. I think I know what I do pretty good. I don't think that's being egotistical, because I do think so. But I'm always concerned daily about my audience. I always feel that each day is almost like an audition. You do the best you can do today, or you don't have a job tomorrow.
まあ、例えばどういうこと？ Do you see your music changing much from year to year, or do you think it's pretty much at the same level? Do you keep up with some of the newer stuff?
Yes, I keep up with them. But yes, it is changing. I think everything is changing. Blues music is life as we live in it today, and as I believe we lived it in the past, and as I believe we'll live in the future. So yes, it changes. It has to do with people, places, and things. So yes, it's changing. It's changing, I think, for better.
Do you think part of the question was, do you think you're influenced at all by some of the newer?
Yes, I'm influenced, of course. Yes, I'm influenced just as I influence.
Uh-huh.
I'm influenced just as I influence others.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
パンって言っていいんですか？
When you say like you keep up with the newer stuff, do you mean like is that pop or is it the newer blues artists or?
No, some of all of it. I couldn't tell you the top 100, how many than 100, but there are certain artists that I will hear, certain artists that I will know about, and there are certain artists that I listen to. I don't know them all because there's so many today. It's hard for even the people I think that write about them to keep up with them all. But yes, I know about a lot of them, and it has to do with rock and roll. It has to do with all kind of music. Yes, I keep up with some of it. I listen to not one. I don't only listen to blues. I listen to rock and roll. I listen to jazz. I listen to gospel. I listen to country. I listen to some of all kind of music, some of all of it, and I'm aware of some of all of it. Not all, but some of all of it, and I like some of all of it.
I think they're kind of looking for like a name of a recent artist who maybe caught your ear there.
A recent artist?
Yeah.
In what field?
Anything.
All right. I like Madonna. I like U2. I like Kenny G. I like George Benson. I like Whitney Houston. Tina Turner. It's a young Japanese girl that sings, and I like her very much. I can't think of her name. She's a beautiful singer. She's a beautiful girl, and she's very pretty. She's small, but petite, but very popular when I was here 6 months ago. And I can't remember her name, but I like her very much. So I usually like various styles of music. Yes, I like some of all.
The Unihoka YouTube.
Hi.
We heard that you originally approached U2.
Yes, I did.
What sort of impression had you had of them before actually?
Well, I knew about some of their work. I knew about the album, the Joshua Tree album. I knew about that. And just as I was telling you about some of the other artists, certain albums I know about. I wouldn't be able to tell you all of some of the albums that the people I've mentioned, but I know about some of them. In fact, I couldn't tell you every album I've made out of 68. But I was in Ireland, in Dublin, Ireland, when I played a concert there. U2 came out to catch the show. And after the show, they came backstage, and we were sitting back talking as we are now. I knew Bono was a songwriter, so I said to him when he was leaving, sometimes when you're writing, would you think of me and write a song for me? So he smiled and said, yes, I will. And that was the beginning of it. 88, early 88, I had a call from Sid, my manager, telling me that Bono had written a song. So he said, they're coming to Fort Worth, Texas. Would like to know if you would like to come out and go over the song with him. And I said, yes, I would. And then he said, if you'd like to open the show, they'd like to have you open the show. So I like that too. I said, yes, I will. I'd be glad to. So my band and I, we go over, and when I see U2, I find that he had wrote the song for us to sing together, not just for me to sing, but for us to sing together. So I was very happy about it. That night we introduced that song to about 40,000 people, according to the papers. And they stand up. Everybody give us a standing ovation. About 2 weeks later, I think, we go to Tempe, Arizona, just outside of Phoenix, and we introduced the song again. This time to, according to the papers, about 85,000 people. We get another standing ovation. So a few weeks later, we went to Hollywood and recorded. So that's how it came about.
Yeah. What motivated you to get in touch with a younger band like U2?
The music. The music. And the popularity. So, I'd like to, you've got popularity like that, I'd like to play with you too. Yeah, no, it had a lot to do with the music, and my manager thought it was a good idea to do it, and I'm in agreement with him on everything we've done. In fact, I thought it was a great idea, but it was, you know, his okay on it that made it actually happen.
Do you find any non-musical problems involved with being on the road with the younger guys at all? Are you basically able to sort of maintain your own pace?
I maintain my own pace. We never forget about our age. You can run faster than I can. You can run much longer because you're younger. But I'm wiser. I get in the car. One thing happens to you when you be around as long as I am. 64 years. You learn much. You learn even when you're not trying to learn, you learn. Wisdom comes with age. So I always remember where I'm supposed to be and where the young people are supposed to be. But music has no age limit. Music is one part of the arts that has no age. No age. Ageless music. Like beauty. Ageless. Many of the arts have no age limit. Lucky for me, I play music. No age. Little people, big people, all like music.
Bono has said that performing on the same stage with you, he feels severe vocal limitations compared to your vocal prowess there. How do you evaluate Bono?
I value him as a great entertainer. He's a great songwriter. He's a guy that's learning all the time. He haven't nearly reached his potentials. His potentials are much higher. He's steady growing all the time. Each time I work with him, I find something different. He's like a sponge. He's eager to learn, and he's learning all the time.
What do you think is the greatest thing you've taught Bono? What do you think is the greatest thing he's learned from you?
I really don't know. But I think patience has been one. I think that's one of the things, because young people tend to want everything to happen right now. One thing about older person, we know that if you work with it long enough, it will happen. I don't know what I've taught him, but I would assume that patience has been one of the things that he may have learned something from me.
Do you don't think Bono was kind of hesitant or kind of scared at first to perform with you? Was he?
No.
He wasn't
I don't think
intimidated?
so. I don't think so. I think that they respect me for what I do. I think it's a reciprocal thing. I respect them, and I think they respect me. But I don't think it was any fear at all. If there's any fear, it would be on my part, because the audience primarily comes to see them. I feel that we have some fans among them, but if there's going to be any fear, the fear would be me, afraid to come out in front of the audience that come to see them.
Do you find yourself subconsciously altering your style at all to kind of conform to these big U2 audiences? Do you ever think that you changed at all?
No, I'm myself. But I'm wise enough to know that an audience that comes to see someone else, I must be impressive, always. So in order to be impressive, I try to keep a fast-moving show. No gaps. Continuously locked like that. And I think that's entertaining when you do that. And in so doing, I don't have to alter my show. I don't have to alter it at all. I can be B.B. King, which is what I want to be, B.B. King. But I want to be a good support to U2. I want to open the show, keep it lively, keep it... I am a supporting act. And I believe that in order to be a good leader, you have to be a good follower. So I'm a good follower, I think.
He gets the feeling that U2 has learned a lot from you, and that they seem to have polished their show quite a bit since they started playing with you. He's seen, I guess, saw some of the Rattle and Hum tour. And back then, it seemed like it was still sort of a loose collection of songs, whereas now on this tour, they seem to have inherited your style. It's more of a polished, packaged show. Have you noticed their growth at all, like specific aspects?
They've grown, yes, they've grown. I don't know about what he's saying, but yes, they have grown. They have grown a whole lot since we did Rattle and Hum. Yes, they have. I've noticed that, yes. I don't know where they got it from me, though. But I think it's like I said earlier. Bono is like a sponge. He learns all the time. And in fact, they rehearsed. They work very hard together. And I don't think that it was B.B. King that did that. Maybe a little bit, but I don't think so. I think they are learning. Like I said earlier, they have not reached their potentials. They are steady growing. They will, if they continue as they are, they will grow even bigger than what they are today.
Can you identify at all with their approach to the music? Like, for example, they incorporate the messages into it and whatnot. Is that something you identify with at all?
I can identify with it, yes. I think U2 is a group that is like many groups during the 60s. They're not satisfied with the status quo. They want everything better for everybody. And I think that's good. And so, yes, I can identify with the messages that they have. They are not just for one, but they're for two. They're for all. And that, I think, is good. I wish we had more groups that could do that. All of us can. I'm one that have to go strictly by what I believe in, and that's the music. I believe, personally, that music brings people together. They believe that, but they also like to have their message to tell people. I believe that, personally, that music is one thing that brings all countries, all people together. And they don't think in terms of politics. I believe that. Well, I think U2 believe that also, but they also believe that if they have a message, they can put it in song to all of those people, instead of thinking in terms of the politics that each country or each government might have. And some groups, I think, can do that. And I think it's good. It's healthy.
Having been at the top for so long, this tour now with U2 kind of sort of propels you more into the ozone there. For a guy who stays at the top so long, I mean, what keeps you going? How do you keep yourself going? You talked about the three major reasons a little while ago there. But.
Well, I feel that I haven't reached my potential either. I feel that I'm kind of like an automobile company at home called Hertz. They was number one. Then there's the other company called Avis. They say we work harder because we want to be number one. So I guess I'm sort of like that. I feel that there is more. I feel there is more. And I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to find it. And I think working with U2 and working 20 years ago with the Rolling Stones, and then the many people in between, I think all of that has helped me to grow. And I want to grow a little more, not this way, but yeah. So that's one of the reasons that keeps me going. I personally think that, as I mentioned about music, music does something for me. As a man, I don't feel aged at all. When I'm with 10, 12, 15-year-olds, I don't feel, when I think in terms of music, I don't feel any difference. I don't feel at all out of place to play for them. I can talk with them. I think that's one of the differences. If I would, some of my friends that grew up with me, they seem old to me. Some not as old as I am, because their conversation, their way of life is much different from mine. Me, for some reason, I'm kind of like, I'm right there with the flow of young musicians, young people. I'm right there with them. I may not keep right up with them, but I'm right there. I think all of that helps me. My mind is very active, very active. And I learn from you. I learn much from you, just as I assume that you'll learn from me. I think that, to answer your question, all of this has kept me, as Frank Sinatra say, kept me feeling young. I feel young, very young. I don't ever feel old until something hurt, maybe. But I never feel old, ever. I don't. So I think all of that keeps me going, if I'm answering your question.
Yeah.
That makes me feel very, like last night, I felt very good. I don't think the audience paid attention to my age last night. I think they listened to my music. I believe that would be the same here. When we play Tokyo, I think that they will listen to my music, not paying attention. They'll see a big black guy up there, but the music will be gentle, it'll be forceful, then it'll be swinging, and it'll be mellow, it'll be everything I feel that their ears can take. She likes you.
You see it.
Lucia. You see.
Top player.
Is this good enough?
Thank you.
Before you leave, may I offer a souvenir?
お土産を
Souvenir?
一つ
Souvenir? Souvenir?